What is going on, everybody? It's Ferris76 here, and I'm going to be coming at you with another Memories of Mars video today. Now, last time when we were on here, we were just slowly getting a couple things sorted out. So today, what we're probably going to be doing is making a larger base because this is pretty small for what we actually need. Because we got some schematics right here for just different miscellaneous pieces. And today what I'm hoping to get done is get this schematic for this pistol learned, and hoping to get a new and larger base. So what we're going to need to build a better, stronger base is a lot of iron, which we only got one piece right there. So we got a 73 here, so that's going to be a decent start, but we're also going to need some aluminum. Now, our biggest thing is going to be trying to get... The aluminum is one of the hardest materials to get in the game because of how quick we go through it because we use it so much. So no matter what you're going to be doing, you're always going to be going through just different things. And one reason I'm coming right up here is for a little bit of copper. So I know some bases we are going to need, some base components you will need copper to build. So it's always good just to go ahead and grab a little bit when you're able to see it. And okay, that's pretty good. I wasn't expected to get this, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this. Get this knocked out as we're on the way to build the next base. The next base we're going to be building is actually going to be a lot larger, and it's going to be able to withstand a lot more materials being thrown towards the base to build, because we're going to use something for storing a lot of materials. That's one of the biggest things with this game, is a lot of people really are not able to just sit there and predict how many materials you're going to need in this game. But there is actually a very large amount that you would not expect that you will need for the game. So the place where we're going to be probably building at is going to be right over in here. The reason is, yeah, it's near Outpost Scarfell, but that is not really why we're going to go over in there. The reason is because Umbravallis right here, that is a massive magnesium farm. And then you also have Biosphere Wahilla right here. That is going to be one of your best places for getting acid. Scarfell is for aluminum and copper. And up here, Biosphere Jinzan, that is going to be one of your more common carbon fiber areas. But another main reason is there's a small area right here that has got a lot of silicone in it. That is going to be one of the main reasons why we're going to be trying to build a base down over towards Outpost Scarfell, and it's because of all the resources that are not far away from it. because where it's probably going to be is right up near this mountain right here. That's where I plan on building. That is going to be basically in the dead center of the majority of the map. That way you have easy access about, I'm not going to say 100% of things, but maybe about 80% of what is around this map. Which, for how big this map really is, that's not a bad amount of accessibility to stuff in the game. Now, this base that we're going to be building up in that area is going to take a good long time to get proper, because there is a lot of base structures and stuff that we're not going to be able to get right off the bat. And it is mainly because some of them we still need to research, which is like mountain cliff support beams, stuff like that. Now, once I can get a lot of those researched, I can start slowly just trying to pick off one by one and seeing what needs to get built first. And one of the good things about being over in this area is this excavator, this mining machinery, which is basically a massive bucket wheel excavator. That holds a ton of materials that we will be needing, and I'll show you in just a little bit how you get most of those materials. The main thing I'm going to do right at the moment is just get over here and get a terminal down and try to get a couple of the basic needs built. And the reason why I'm more focused on this today instead of following some of the more of the protocols is because this is going to be something that is going to be more needed in the long run. Because there is still roughly 8 more main missions of protocols to do, which they can go either between 8 to 12 per protocol main line, which is going to take a lot longer for us to process through, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But right over in here is where I'm going to put a decent sized base. And this keeps glitching out. That's the only reason why I keep having to reset like controls, all different types of stuff. I don't know what has been going on to keep making this thing want to reset the entire thing that I keep doing every single time to have to keep adjusting. And right here is where I'm just going to put the administration terminal temporarily until I can get a lot more of the base built. That way I can find more of a permanent location for it. That is one thing about playing with this game. You are going to have to bust a lot of buildings down and rebuild them. But it's mainly just because, like, you're going to get into some of these areas where you can't do much. And one thing I just seen is we do not have our building, our 3D printer. So that means we're going to have to probably craft another one. But the problem with that is we cannot do it down here. We have to go back to the old base, which is going to be the biggest problem. But at least we were able to get the administration terminal put down, and we are able to do this number. Get it up a couple of levels, because as you can see right here, we have it set so there is a master protection timer on it. So if we were not to play the game for a little bit, we wouldn't have to worry. But our other base, we still have to worry about that one because there's only a 4-day timer. So I'm gonna have to run back there real quick where I can grab some of the other materials out of it and hope to get this entire area built. Because the area where our base is at right now, that is one of the starting areas where you're not going to be keeping your base for long. And one of the problems is with it being there the whole time is that with it sitting there, you are limited on how big you can build it due to all the spawning areas around it. All the spawning areas from you just logging into the game for the first time, all those areas are going to be protected, where they cannot be built on or anything like that. And right here is the bucket wheel excavator, which is what we're going to hit on the way back. There is a lot of nitrate on the ground, but that nitrate is going to come in handy for a lot of different materials later on. So don't be afraid to grab this early on in the game, because that is going to be one of your main resources for making food. Nitrate, it can help make rations, but it can also help make a lot more materials that if you actually sat there and thought about it for later on in the future, you'd be like, man, I wish I grabbed those a lot sooner. Because nitrate is one of your main medical uses, food uses, and also for ammunition. It helps build a lot of the tier 2 and tier 3 ammunition, which honestly you can get pretty fast in the game. And the only reason I'm going for all this iron at the moment is just for the flops. Because I'm right on the over encumbered. I can still run, but it's still going to slow me down. So at the moment, what I'm going to do, just hurry up and run back and get all that iron I just collected, and get that changed over to raw iron, basically, just for us to build with. And what is shooting at me right now, that is a mob that is really not one that you want to try messing with. The reason is because it is a snake that goes in the ground. It will come out and shoot acid at you, and sometimes it can be blinding to the point where you cannot see 5 feet in front of you as you're just sitting there running in a certain direction. And it is going to take a couple of different trips back and forth, but after a little bit I will be able to just go grab everything in one go and just take it right back over there. What I'm doing right now is just trying to get a couple of different, like, necessities, basically. That's all I'm trying to go for at the moment, because it is going to be stuff that we will need in order to move on. And I just went the wrong way. There it is. At least it's not like a very far walk, like walking 90% across the map. This is mainly just going to be a lot of just going back and forth tedious little things until I can get a cloning chamber and 2 more pieces built down there, and one of them is going to be for smelting. But I was looking at this base earlier that we're heading back to, the main one. It was just a little too small for some of the materials we are about to have to start crafting, like the industrial smelter, that the industrial furnace. Sorry, that is going to be one of the largest building materials in the game, other than the storage vault. Both of them take 4 spaces and are 2 blocks tall. So those 2 panels tall, we could have done that in this area, but we did not have the space to do 4 panels crossed. So it would have been 2 forward and 2 sideways. We couldn't have done that because our base is so restricted in that area to build. Some areas you might be able to, but not in this little area up in here. Because if you remember from the first episode when I was building this base, you can remember that I hit a restricted area just trying to place wall panels over here. Because if you look right over here, right there is a main spawn point. So my base cannot build any more this way. It can only come this way to these rocks, and that's it. And it can only go that way to those rocks, and that's it, before I have to start building upward with a lot of structure support, and that just takes way too many materials to even want to try. And that's going to take just a minute. But right there, all that was already like 300 nitrate. That was not really that bad. But nitrate is going to be one of your key components for making food. Because if you go into any kind of thing, biomass right here, that is created by nitrate. And I'll show you that once we can get the new base built, because it is going to involve getting this built, which is the Ology Farm. Honestly, what I might do is just turn around, take this 100 with us, and just smelt it there. That way we can hurry up and get back over there and start building more. And now with us having the 3D printer on us, we're not going to have to go back and forth to get materials unless it is something that we physically cannot get in the area. Which 90% of the materials we can get in that area, it might just take us a tiny bit longer, just depending on what it is we got to get. The only thing I really don't like about this game is just the traveling from place to place is just so slow. They were planning on bringing in buggies before they discontinued the development process in the game, which if they would have brought the buggies in, it would have been great and handy. But at the same time, they were having so many issues with the buggies that they kept having game crashes, all kinds of stuff. And if they were to have pushed a little bit harder for this game, they would have, I have a feeling they honestly would have made a lot bigger hit than they would have ever predicted. Because this game is a real good game. It's just after you complete the entire storyline, it's basically, there's nothing else to do. I know someone that is on PS4 that's been playing for 3 years straight. He goes and does a little bit of everything in the game. He even helps other people now level up in the game because they can't do it themselves anymore. Because of some of the levels, you need 2 or 3 people for some of these missions. And later on, one of my friends is going to have to get on to help me out on this game right here, on this map that we're playing on, because some of the missions get to the point where you're going to need a backup, temporarily at least. You don't need to have someone rolling with you constantly. It's just for 1 or 2 missions, you can do them alone, but it's easier when you got that second hand. I literally just made up this like 2 or 3 minutes ago, but I can't find the sweet spot. That's one of the only problems with, like, when you're trying to transport. Sometimes you can get up into some of these areas, sometimes you can't. So now I'm going to have to run down to the opposite side and come up, like, on the complete opposite side of the base. But this game, it's got a couple bugs, yes, but 90% of them have been wiped away. And when they got wiped away, it was after the developers stopped doing updates on the game. They just got the game to a stable area and just basically left it. And they've not touched the game since 2020. Which, yes, it sucks because I know a ton of people that play this game. They all love the game. But it's just the lack of content, and it's just after you get to a certain point, there's nothing else to do. Which is why a lot of people have stopped playing the game, and that's one reason the developers have kind of stopped even trying with the server. It's like, yes, I know a ton of developers that if they seen a whole lot of community coming back together to try to basically rebirth the game, they would look at it different. They might go, there's a lot of people trying to play this game again. We should try to give them an update and see how that goes. Which is one reason I'm doing this stream, is to see if I can get the attention back into Memories of Mars that we used to have. A lot of people used to play and a lot of people enjoyed the game. And as you can see right here, these are the dry rations, which is for food. Right here is your biomass. But I'll show you in just a minute just how much nitrate is going to play a factor into your biomass for your food and into a good bit of your like tier 2 weaponry and stuff. Alright, so your algae farm, that does require copper, but so does this. The cloning chamber is going to be something we're going to need a little bit more than the algae farm right now. And it would help if I would stop falling off the bottom of the base. But I'm going to go ahead and get this built, and then I'm going to keep getting those floors built up some. But the good thing is, with this area that we're building in at the moment, we can expand all over the place over here. I was on PS4 and I seen a base that covered this entire mountaintop one time. And I might do that in the server, I might not, it just depends. It depends on if I'm able to get enough attention onto this video to hopefully get somewhere, honestly. If I can get a ton of people eyeballing this channel and get a lot of likes, yeah, I'll keep doing streams. I'll make some crazy designs that y'all would never even think of. But at the end of the day, it just depends on y'all. Y'all gonna be sitting there liking the videos and actually want to see some of this stuff? Or y'all just gonna be like, eh, I want to see the missions. And here, if you want to see a little bit of both, well, that's good for you because that's what I'll be doing the whole time. Right here is titanium. It's got a little mix of iron in it, but it's most of the time you're just going to get titanium for these. These are things that you're going to have to watch out for, the meteors landing. And the reason is because they have been known to bury bases underneath the pile of dirt that they do kick up. If you look right there, that was a good bit of iron ore I just got. So we're going to get that smelted. And finish crafting the floors. So that we can start getting some of these materials that we're going to need for in the future. One short on building that. And those are the meteors. This area is a more hotspot for the meteors to land, but sometimes that is actually really good due to titanium is going to be something that you're going to get from the meteors, which is going to be more of a need than a want when it comes to starting to build some of the tier 2 and tier 3 weapons, armor, and just different base components. That is going to be one of the pieces that you will start to need. So what I'm going to do from right here, once we get the tier 2 version of this pulse excavator, you will definitely see an increase in materials you can get from these harvests. It just, with the base version of it, you're not going to get much. And it does take a while to go through the storyline to get the second one. But I think it is after the third set of protocols you will get it. I could be wrong. It could be earlier or later. But I know it's not much further in the game until you do start seeing some better things popping up. My main reason I'm coming in here is to see if there might be any more computers or anything for copper. Because right here is something that is a decent find, which is silicon. there is another base right over here that does put more of that off, but it's just trying to access the area because it is so heavy that it will weigh you down no matter what you try to do. Just that stack of 20 is what has got me to the point where I'm sitting at right at the moment. Okay. And right here is some more copper, which is what we needed. So one thing we can go ahead and get built is once we can get the second floor, or just basically the second set of walls in right up in here, we can go ahead and get a large storage vault put up in a second. These large storage containers are just a little bit larger than the normal, because they require 2 vertical walls, but we can only build one of these at the moment, which is going to be good just because we need to have a place to store all the silicone, because that is such a heavy product that you can see right here at the red bar. Just me moving that one component just moves me back that far. And then titanium is also another heavy piece. But it also don't help all the different pieces of scrap that I have on me. The signal flares are not good. And the junk food packs, you do not want to eat those. Those can turn around and actually do more harm than good. So normally what your best bet is to do with them is just to turn around and scrap them and get some more materials from it. And right here is the algae farm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the nitrate that we already collected, and then it should start processing all of it. Because what it normally does, it takes about 30 minutes to get it all processed, to the point where it's going to be something that we're going to really need. So now this requires 3 more copper and a good bit more iron, but we do have the aluminum to make the blast furnace. So what I'm going to do at the moment is just go ahead and finish off as many of these walls as I can, because I do plan on having a second story right over in this area. That way we can maximize more storage space. And also if we have another person coming to join the alliance, they have a place to stay instead of having to worry about having to go somewhere else or hunt down a place for a little bit. Now, sometimes you're going to get with friends that they want to build their own base. Then other times you're going to have friends that they want to, but they physically can't at the moment. That's when you just want to get a little something small, just where they can store some materials temporarily until they can get a base built. That is going to be one of your best bets to try to get into a habit of, especially with this game, because if you're going to be rolling by yourself, you don't really have to, but if you know you're going to have friends on, you are going to want to try to have, even if it's only just a couple small storage containers for them, and help them build a cloning chamber. That way they can have their own place to spawn in and out of. I'm just looking at a couple of different panels and stuff, just where I can see like building costs. Because some of these, if you actually go and get some of these, they can reduce the cost of some of your materials. Other times, just depending on like what you're going for. Now, if I'm wanting to upgrade, I can turn around and go for like these wall panels. It's normally supposed to be 4 pieces, but to build that one, it's only 3. But it does take a while to get up to that kind of point to not have to worry all the way. Like right here, I had over 30 pieces. I should be able to get 10 of these wall panels done. Like the whole first floor is done right here. So what I'm going to do is get the second floor at least started. So we only have 5 more panels to do than is the roof on the first and second story. The second story, what I plan on doing is just doing a basic roof, like right here. That leaves us a couple of decent areas. That way we can get a couple of the materials that we're going to need in here. But what we will be doing is right here, we are going to put a ladder going up to the second story. But we just need to grab the last bit of iron that we're going to need. Which what I will be doing is running back over to the bucket wheel excavators and collecting it from there. Because as I'm also over there, I can collect some more of the nitrate that we are going to need for food. That way we can start slowly making a decent food supply area. And right in this area, you can find magnesium. Right down where the bottom of the bucket wheel excavators are, you can get magnesium down there. Because Umbra Vallis is one of your main spawn locations for magnesium ore. So when you're down here, you would be looking for the blue and grayish tint on the ores. and you do get a lot of nitrate from this area, which is really good. Just depending on the time of day and how many times that people have actually hit this area on the server you're playing on, you can come out of here with over 1,000 nitrate in one run. Which, that is actually a very good bit, because especially with how long it takes to get to work up to that amount, nitrate is going to be probably one of your best friends in the game, due to all the different materials you need it for. But it will also get you very heavy, because if you look right here, the weight is at 8 in nitrate, which is pretty decent in weight. But what is actually weighing me down is a couple of different materials, plus I do not have any of the best gear. Some of the better gear to get is going to be like the Enforcer's chest rig and Mercenary's chest rig. Those are a lot harder to get, but they will actually do very well for when you are looking for a decent setup for farming materials. But we're about to run all this iron back up here and get it set up. And to completely build this base is going to take 2 different episodes. So what I'm going to have to do is I am going to have to split this up into a part 2. And it's just because there's going to be a lot to build in this base that we've not even been able to scratch the surface of yet. And right here, this is actually the magnesium that I was just talking about a minute ago. The blue and gray colored ore. It is in Umbervalis, which is the location I'm running through on the map at the moment. That is one of the main locations you're going to find a lot of magnesium at. Everywhere else on the map is either going to be titanium ore or iron ore you'll be finding. Titanium ore is only found spawning in one location, and that is at the very top of the map near Ignis Mons, which is just right up over here near Outpost Nevis. This whole area up towards the top, there's a mountain ridge right here. So this entire mountain ridge going all the way down to over in here, that all spawns titanium ore. There might be a couple more places that I do not know about, but from the only areas I know of spawned it is right up in that area in Ignis Mons. Right here is another one of the beginner spawn location areas. What are they called? The hatches for the new beginner spawns. This area, you can get a good bit of those spawn locations. Is just they're more on the opposite side of this area, which is called Scarfell. They're not really going to be on this side. That is the only one over in this area. And the reason is because this is the in between area between medium and hard mobs to fight, because if I was to go just a little bit further over that hill over there, there are some harder mobs that I would die instantly trying to fight at this moment, because they can shoot with some incredible range and accuracy that can actually almost instant kill you, and they might be able to with the level I'm at. I don't have good health or armor. It is very possible they could just one tap me. Now, this should be able to completely build the rest of the main base. It is not going to be able to help with any of the these panels are actually pretty expensive. It is 5 iron per panel. So I'll at least be able to get the first story done, and I might be able to start working on the second just a tiny bit, but not by much. But I'm actually going to call it a video right here. If you did enjoy, watch me start slowly building a base that is going to be needed for the rest of the series, please do leave a like. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, that actually will help show me if you can do both of those things, that you do enjoy these videos, and I can keep doing more of these videos for y'all.